Okay, Gorilla199 investigates the BBC. That would be a good title for this video, wouldn't it? But anyway, I'm going to be completely fair about this. I'm just going to take a look at who the BBC are and shareholdings, etc, etc. Okay, stuff that you obviously don't know. Let's just begin here. That's the BBC listings there on Google, and we'll go on to here to Wiki, and it says here that it's owned by the Her Majesty's government, and that its revenue is £5.102 billion. It's a lot of money. So I mean, obviously, you know, as an organisation which is you know, publicly owned, that money must obviously go back into the public purse, mustn't it? So you know, it's beneficial for us to have the BBC, I think. Okay, but anyway, let's just move on from there and go to web check. And as you can see, the BBC is a limited company. It's a limited company. Before I go any further, I've never actually seen any document from the BBC which says it's a limited company on it. And from my conversations with people at Companies House, which I've had many over the years, told me that if you've got a limited company, you have to put that you're a limited company on your headed paper. I asked them about emails and web pages, and they said, well, you know, grey area sort of thing, yeah, but technically you should, but you know, there's no legislation saying that you have to. But headed paper, you do need to. Now, what about this? Gets deeper and deeper, by the way. What about, say for instance, something trivial like the TV licensing, before we move on to the juicy bits? Well, TV licensing, people post their stuff on the internet here all the time with their TV license forms and stuff, and none of them, from what I can see, have got anything to do with a limited company written on them. I can't see anything there. They say TV licensing, but they don't say any limited company. Okay, but there is an exemption where they don't have to do that. But let's just take a look one more time here at the web check. Okay, so BBC Limited, and the registration number is 065000244. Let's type in British Broadcasting Corporation. Yep, that comes up on Companies House also as a limited company. But as you can see, it doesn't say limited at the end there. Now again, my conversations with people at Companies House, I've been told that if you're a registered charity, or if you have an exemption of paying tax by way of placing charitable objects in your articles of memorandum, which is just a document, you know, if you're a limited company, then that can be taken off there. You don't have to put that on there. So, for instance, and the registration number here is RC000057, which is different from this one here, which is 065000244. Remember, BBC Limited and then British Broadcasting Corporation. That's the same people, isn't it? You know. But as I say, that one now, first one says limited, and this one here doesn't say limited. So it's the same company. It seems registered twice, which means that it's actually legally two separate companies. And this bit here has the ability not to have limited after anything. So, you know, that means that it's tax exempt. Hang on a minute. Let's just go back to the BBC Wikipedia. It says here that the revenue is 5.102 billion. If it's tax exempt and they're shareholders, that would mean that that money doesn't actually go back into the public purse. That's interesting, isn't it? As I say, you know, I'm just speculating from what I've found here on the internet. I mean, you know, I could be completely wrong. And, you know, you're perfectly welcome to have a look, leave your comments there, etc. But anyway, let's move on again. So I thought to myself, well, okay, let's have a look at who the shareholders are. But I found something interesting, and it was this. I put in to Companies House British Broadcasting Company instead of British Broadcasting Corporation. And I pressed the go, and it came up as British Broadcasting Corporation. So that's RC000057. It's not that one. Yeah, it's that one. So it's the same thing. So I thought, well, okay, let's look for British Broadcasting Company on the internet. So I did. And what I found was, where's it gone? web check. This. Shareholders of the British Broadcasting Company, 1923 to 1926. That's all I could find. Okay, fair enough. And it's written by this person here. And I just scrolled it down a bit here. And I found that it said this. That this work lists the firms and individuals officially recorded as having been members shareholders of the British Broadcasting Company during the period 1923 to 1926, which is long gone, okay, fair enough. But it says only bona fide manufacturers who were members of the British Broadcasting Company were permitted to apply the mandatory BBC mark to the commercial broadcast radio equipment that they produced. So on and so forth, okay? So it says here, the British Broadcasting Company Limited was registered on the 15th of December 1922, and its first 6 directors, why is it 6? That's the number of the devil, isn't it? Were nominated by the 6 main shareholders. And the 6 main shareholders are Marconi's Wireless Telegraph, Metropolitan Vickers Electrical, Radio Communications Co Limited, the British Thomson Houston Co Limited, the General Electric Co Limited and Western Electric Co Limited. So the 6. The 6 directors were nominated by the 6 main shareholders. So that's the 6 main shareholders. I don't know if they are still the 6 main shareholders or not, but we do know that there seems to be a tax exemption on British Broadcasting Corporation from Companies House, but not on BBC Limited. So I'm wondering how that works. If it's publicly owned, we should have the right to know where that money's gone to, shouldn't we? But anyway, let's carry on from there, because it says here that about the British Broadcasting Corporation. It's a UK-based international public service broadcaster, headquartered at Broadcasting House, London. Right, they moved now, haven't they? It's the world's oldest national broadcasting organisation, largest broadcaster, 23,000 staff. The BBC is established under a royal charter, etc. So, royal charter, just click that. So, it tells you about, what a royal charter is, and that it's renewable every 10 years. And it's actually renewable in 2015 or 2016, it's one of the two, it's renewable. So, I mean, if people actually have complaints about the BBC being given another royal charter because of their behaviour, for instance, then they should write to Her Majesty the Queen and say, we find it objectionable, Your Majesty, and perhaps she wouldn't grant them another royal charter, because a royal charter it was one way of establishing a company, but it's rarely used now. You can find that info on the internet yourselves. So there's actually no need for it. So there's no need for the BBC to actually have a royal charter other than to give them credibility and status, basically. And also, let's just move on from there, because there's more stuff which is interesting here, and it's this here. It's the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, and it says here, champions of dispute resolution. Chartered bodies. Okay? So, the BBC are a chartered body. There are in excess of 900 chartered bodies. A royal charter is a way of incorporating a body, that is turning it from a collection of individuals into a single legal entity. A body incorporated by royal charter has all the powers of a natural person, including the power to sue and be sued in its own right. So you can actually sue the BBC. Royal charters, being a limited company of course, royal charters were at one time the only means of incorporating a body, but there are now other means becoming a registered company, for example, BBC Limited, even British Broadcasting Corporation, again, that's registered as a limited company in that capacity. So the grant of new charters is comparatively rare. New grants of royal charters are these days reserved for eminent professional bodies or charities, which have a solid record of achievement and are financially sound. In the case of professional bodies, they should represent a field of activity which is unique and not covered by any other professional bodies. Okay, so that's for new ones now. But seeing as they are renewable every 10 years, is it not now the case that TV and stuff is covered by other people? So it's not, BBC is not unique. So it doesn't qualify in that term, does it? But anyway, here's another very interesting part here. that all of you conspiracy spoofs are going to like, because it says here at least 75% of the corporate members should be qualified to first degree level standard. Okay, so hold on a minute, and this is really unfair. Finally, both in the case of charities and professional bodies incorporated by charter should be in the public interest. Well, I no longer consider the BBC to be in the public interest in any shape or form, especially after the what they call the Savile inquiry, but everyone else is calling the BBC Pedophile ring scandal, and I'm one of those people calling it that. I've been calling it for years. But here, at least 75% of the corporate members should be qualified to first degree level standard. When I went to school, we didn't do a first degree, a second degree, third degree, all the way up to 33rd degree tests. We just done O levels and A levels, and you know, there was GCSEs and GCSEs and whatever they are now. Since when is this? You've got to be qualified to first degree level? You know, my conspiracy orientated mind says to me Freemasonry. So if that was the case, in my opinion, if that were the case, that would mean that 75% of the BBC are Freemasons, qualified to at least first degree level or above. And hold on a sec. And also, see, the thing is, the BBC is a quango, all right? Let's have a look at what a quango is. Where are we? Quango. In both the Republic of Ireland and the United Kingdom, a quasi-autonomous non-governmental organisation, quango, is an organisation to which a government has devolved power. In the United Kingdom, this term covers different arm's-length government bodies. Arm's length. Including non-departmental public bodies, non-ministerial departments and executive agencies. And I also read that this was a case where something had been reached where there was no longer any reasonable argument, that all reasonable argument had been exhausted, that this was a way of doing the arm's length thing. It's got a name called black something, I can't remember exactly what it is, but yeah, that's what this is. Hey, listen, you know, the 75% being qualified to first degree level. There it is. At least 75% of the corporate members should be qualified to first degree level standard. That does it for me. You know, as far as I'm concerned, if I was the judge now, I'd get the old gavel and I'd go, boomf. That's it, it's over, and then I would pass sentence. Anyway, look, that's my opinion, and there's the comment section there. Say what you've got to say, freedom of speech and all that. Nothing has been legally breached in this video, by the way. This is all stuff which is up on the internet based upon my understanding and my opinion, and I'm entitled to my own understanding. I'm entitled to my own opinion, and so are you. The links to all of these pages are down there too, if you have a look at for yourself and examine. Who knows, maybe even the BBC would like to comment on this.